Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another interview for NSTV Celebration of World Art Day. With us now is a very talented artist. Her name is Marni B, and she's a full-time social worker, part-time therapist, and is now running her own growing business called Art by Marni B. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
So why don't we start off by you telling us a little bit about what it is Art by Marni B sells.
Sure. So Art by Marni B is just a fairly new business. It was established in October of last year, but I've been painting for over 20 years. I went to high school, college, all for fine arts, and then I got into social work. So it kind of took a back seat. Basically, right now, my main focus is local Long Island seashells. And I go and I collect shells from the shores and I bring them home in my home studio. I prep them, I clean them, I sand them, and I create little works of art. They're actually not as little as people think. Some of them are as big as my head. And they capture, basically, people will request things that they want, tributes, memorials, special scenes, flowers, really anything. Or they'll send me their photos. And instead of an old frame, I'll overlay their photos into a seashell. And they will put them on little stands or in boxes, like shadow boxes. They're just really sweet, different keepsakes. And it's nice because it's a little bit of Long Island. Sent around the country. They've shipped all over the place. And it's been keeping me very busy. So I do a lot of my painting at night after the kids are sleeping. And really now moving forward, trying to make some changes in my own life to continue creating and have so many ideas in my head.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're busy. You're very busy. And having kids during this time is super busy. So good for you.
Thank you.
Well, but how you started with the shells has quite a backstory. Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So I've always been a beach girl. I love the summer. I hate the winter. And I've never walked past a good shell without picking it up. So I have quite the collection. But more specifically, about a year ago, my oldest brother, who was a huge surfer on Long Island. And I mean, he went to California, all over the place. Anytime there was a wave, he was riding the wave. He was just tragically and unexpectedly diagnosed with stage 4 cancer from late February surfing and snowboarding to early March, learning that he had cancer. And about 2 months later, he had passed. So it was very aggressive, very unexpected. And with that, all in the middle of COVID, it was a huge, huge tragedy to so more people than I even knew loved him. There were just so many people and a huge surfing community as well, a lot in Rockaway and Long Beach. So we met a lot of people. And after he had passed, he was a big musician, a mastering artist, and an avid surfer. We would go to the beach a lot. And with going to the beach and tributes and meeting up with his friends and just meeting such amazing people, I found my counter covered in shells. So many shells between me and the kids, just always grabbing one. We did a old Hawaiian tradition back on his birthday in August, where the surfers paddle out into a circle and they do a tribute. It was really special. And with that, we decided to send little messages on shells, and the surfers brought them out and they put them into the ocean. And that started this collection of shells. So how it came that I started painting them was one of my great friends had a birthday in September, and I got her a necklace from Amazon. And I just opened the package and I was like, I really want to make her something. And I felt so inspired. I actually did a drawing during COVID of my husband. It's up in the Spotlight Art Bar right now, featured. I just started like sketching a bit and feeling a little inspired. I really, when paint is great enough for me, the only thing I know to do is create and focus. And it's like a meditation to me. So I started feeling that. And I just happened to place the necklace on the shell. You didn't even think about it. And I looked and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can make her a little shell dish for her necklace. And that was my first shell. And that was back in late September. And a coworker saw it and thought it was cool and said, well, my brother just got engaged. Can you make a shell? And I'll gift it to my future sister-in-law. And from that moment, my first shell purchase, I have been making hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of shells. And by October, I formed my company, Art by Marni B. And I have been just all over the island, keeping really busy, and so honored to be working with so many other artists and companies, and featured as part of like special gifts and collaborations, which I'd be happy to talk more about. It's really been so exciting, the feedback and the love I've been getting from everyone.
Why don't you tell us a little about it? What kind of collaborations have you been doing?
Yeah, sure. So some really exciting stuff. Sometimes it's like, I can't believe I'm talking about this and that I'm saying this is my life. It's really unbelievable to look back. And I'll say, like, social media has been such an incredible avenue for me and a lot of my fellow artists and small businesses, just being able to connect and meet so many people. So right now I am a featured small business with the North Fork Box, and they are just unbelievable women that dedicate their life to supporting local small businesses. And they reach out to all these different businesses and they create this cute little box. It's adorable. And they put an item from each, and people send them out, like, will order them online or through them, and they mail them out, or they get them, some stores feature them out in the North Fork. And so I've done so many different limited editions for them for different holidays and weddings. I have a new one coming out for this month for support of autism. So just really sweet, special boxes. And it's just been amazing working with them. I'm also a business that's in Hitch. Hitch LI is in the village of Babylon. And this store, it was my first introduction into a store. And the owner, he's just so big in supporting the community and doing good things. And he has just such amazing taste. His store is gorgeous. And it's like a brick and mortar where all local artists and artisans and businesses are featured for the whole, island to come. And then I'm also involved with the local market, Port Washington. This is on Main Street, and it's a new location. I'm so excited for the direction of where we're going. So my shells are on their shelf, and I do weekend events there. It's indoor, beautiful space, COVID friendly, and it's all different small businesses that pop up and come out for the day, and they're vendors, but then they're also front retail. We're working on getting the gallery space in the back going. So just like really going in a really exciting direction with this local market. Yeah. And then the newest exciting collaboration that I have is with Long Beach Cleanup. So this organization, it's obviously so special to me. Most of my shells do come from Long Beach and Rockaway, because specifically that's where my brother Mark surfed. So it just means a little bit more to me getting them from where he spent so much time. So they spend their time cleaning the beaches all year round. They get these crews together. It's LB Cleanup, and they throw away trash so that the beaches are clean and the water stays clean and everybody can enjoy their time and be safe. I mean, some of the things that you find on the beach, even when I'm sifting through getting my shells, I always have a bag for garbage, and I have found some stuff. It's unbelievable. So now I'm doing a raffle where they raise money and my shells featured, and they leave shells behind each time they clean the beach. They leave a special shell. So that's really exciting. I'm actually heading out there soon to get them some shells.
That's
So
really beautiful
thank you.
that they leave the shell there
Yeah.
as a
So
mark.
they know it's been cleaned, that they've been
Yeah,
there. So if you ever see a shell, definitely make sure you share it. So
that's beautiful. That's
yeah,
beautiful. I think it's really important to give back. You know, people help you out so much, and it's nice to be able to give back, especially to nature that's giving you, right?
exactly.
That's what's helping
Yeah.
you run this. So now, do people donate shells to you as well? Like, are they like, oh, I just collect all these shells here?
Yeah, it's funny that you ask that. The people don't realize the hard labor that goes into collecting these shells. It is backbreaking, and we've learned as we go. Like, I'll bring my husband with me or a friend because I'll hundreds of shells. So I do have this a dear friend of mine. He's a photographer out in Rockaway, and so he goes out. Joe Lupo, he photographs the surfers. That's actually how I met him, because he had photographed amazing work of Mark surfing, my brother, and so he's always out there. So I'm like, hey, buddy, if you see some shells, keep me in mind. And he, throughout the winter, got me quite a few shells. It was so special. And he had them all lined up. I got to go out there with the kids and hang out with him. And I moved through all those shells fairly quick. And it's hard for me to keep track. So seeing that I went through that batch, I was like, oh, wow, that was like over 100 shells.
Wow.
And then I do have some people that think of me. They'll bring me like a shell or two when they go out. So it's nice that people think that way.
I mean, I find it amazing that you have all these shells, because when I go, I only find like half a shell or a quarter of a shell, a broken shell.
Yeah, I could show you. I mean, these are just some here. These are some, like, just the ones that are ready to go.
And they're huge.
They're huge. So they're very hard to tell, especially on my Instagram and on my website. People are like, how big are they? They'll be up to 6 inches wide. So this is how big they are. They're big.
It's about my face big.
Yep, that's what I say. I'm like, I can go as big as your face, really. So, and then, some of them I actually do are a lot smaller. Like for the North Fork box, they inspired me to go smaller because they had to fit it in the box. And I was like, I only have big shells. So I had to go out for specifically smaller, but they're really sweet because what people do, they'll throw their earrings or their ring right on their nightstand, pocket change. Actually, someone puts guitar picks. And I've done a series of guitars where people will send me a photo of their guitar and I'll create their actual guitar, which is cool. And it's a nice little display, but it's cool for the guitar picks too. Here's a guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you find it harder though to paint with the little shells, like the bigger ones, you have larger canvas?
Yeah, I do. It's definitely different approaches. I work in layers. So a lot of times I'll put like a background layer and then I'll build it up. The cardinals are a really, really sweet series. I do a lot of different cardinals. But yeah, I use really, really, really tiny brushes, and the curve can be a good challenge. But for me, where I'm at in my art career, if from paper to canvases now to shells, I've done glass, bottle caps, all different things. It's the planning process and really working through challenges and mistakes. I like that. I don't like it simple. I like for me, the process is just as important as the product. Like I go from getting the shell from the shore to the prep of it and spending so much time, the music playing, to seeing. My favorite part is getting the picture back when the shell is displayed at my customer's home.
Yeah.
I like beg for it. I'm like, I want to see, because I'm here with it for so long, working on it, of where it ends up.
So how long does it take really for you to one complete shell?
So that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that, and it's almost impossible for me to say, because I've learned very quickly to not really work on one shell. So what I'll do, like I remember last week, I actually was working on 28 shells at once.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll get them all started or prepped, and I'll kind of do the underpainting and I layer them up. So they can take a good few hours. It really depends. I've done the Quebec Castle or the New York City skyline. Those take me a little bit longer than doing clouds,
Right.
or a sunset. So it's really hard for me to say, but I would estimate a good 3 to 4 hours equivalent to a shell. But again, it's really hard. I mean, I didn't glaze this one. This one didn't take me more than maybe a half hour, an hour. Got some Elvis.
Did you?
Yeah, this is all painting. I do all painted shells. The only time that I don't is if it's requested for a photo overlay. So all of my shells are hand painted. I find it even sometimes easier than overlaying a photo. The photo overlays can get to be complicated. I could show you photo overlay. This is an example of doing something a little different than a picture frame. So I have the whole background painted, and then I overlay the photo that's given to me. I don't have many of them because they go so quick. They go right to their customers. So I have a lot online, lighthouses and all different scenes.
Now, were these things you knew how to do before, or you're finding yourself just like inventing as you go when people like with requests?
So a lot of it, the painting skills and everything, I definitely have had with me, but even just looking back from October to now, the techniques and just evolving as an artist, it happens fast. Mm-hmm. So if somebody asks me for a castle or, architecture's never been my thing, that is something new that I'm kind of more trial and error and play around with, and maybe, white out one spot and redo it a few times. But I started early on, and actually in high school, doing a lot of portrait painting with oil. And once I was in college, that was very difficult to bring on the school bus, like public transportation with big oil paintings. People didn't like getting oil all over them as I was knocking into them. So I switched to acrylic, and I was able to learn how to navigate acrylic and still get this oil type look. Mm-hmm. So painting has always been my thing. And the photo overlay was actually quite challenging, and I'm still learning and navigating through. I'll think I got it, and then there'll be something that comes up. The glazing process specifically. So that's where I lean on all my artist friends and trial and error and calling them and saying, I thought I had it, and then this happened or that happened, and redoing a lot of that. But now I feel like I'm pretty smooth sailing. I have one photo overlay that I keep doing. It's the Imagine Central Park. I'm a huge Lennon and Beatles fan. And when I first went there, actually, after my brother had passed, it's been something I've always wanted to do, was go to Strawberry Fields, and I took a photo. And that was my first shell that I made, that right around the time I did for my friends. I was just practicing because I wanted to see how it would work. And I've probably sold more Imagine shells than any others. The Cardinal and the Imagine are big popular ones. I can show the Imagine. And it's harder than some of the paintings, because getting this to curve and the coloring. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. So that's the only one that I do the photo overlay with, unless a customer sends me their photo. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, do you have like a favorite shell that you've done? Or one that means?
Yeah. So I actually just finished my favorite shell, and they haven't even seen it yet. And it's for Long Beach cleanup. And I didn't even glaze it or anything. And I'm thinking that I'll show you, and we'll see if they get it by Friday. Awesome. And this is something that, it was challenging for me with the whole, I'm a very free spirit when it comes to painting. Like, I don't follow the rules. I go with the flow. And this was more like it had to kind of be making sense. So I'll show you. So this is a big shell.
Yep.
One of my big guys.
Oh, that is so cool. Wow.
Yeah. So they haven't seen it yet. So, but by the time this airs, maybe they will.
Yeah, they'll probably see it before. That's gorgeous.
Thank you. So this is the Long Beach Boardwalk, and I just finished it last night. So it's not shiny and glassy yet. This is what it looks like unglazed. And I think it might be my favorite. I really do. They're all so different. It's so hard to compare the differences. I do enjoy the beach scenes, but I really like doing animals too. I've done a lot of like kissing birds and the cardinal, a lot of birds. So it's hard to say. And there's been so many shells, really.
Any like surfboards or, surfers like your bro?
So it's weird. I'd rather be surfing shell with the beach. I've done a million beaches and sunsets. I mean, I can't even count how many. And I haven't done a surfer yet. And I actually just got an order in from a very dear friend wanting a surfer shell. So I will be doing one, and I think will be a really special one. I'm just going down the list of my orders, and it's on there, and he knows he's getting it.
Yeah.
I did do a series of little bottle caps for Surfrider. Surfrider is a foundation, they're a huge, huge organization that cleans the beaches, and they're responsible for some of these beaches on Long Island being surfable because they've cleaned them and really did a lot of work. And they had this call for artists with using found objects like garbage, basically. So I did a bottle cap surfer series of my brother. You can find it on my Instagram, one of the earlier posts, because it seems like not a long time ago, but I've done quite a lot since. So you got to scroll down to see it. It's a cool little series.
Yeah. So, thinking about having to do the surfer, like you keep seeing it there, is it becoming harder as it gets closer? Like that's got to be an emotional one for you.
Yeah. You know what? I feel that ever since I've had this loss in my life, and this was a big one, right? I've had nothing like this before. There's this club and you want nobody to be in it. And the only way that you're in it is having lost somebody that you love so, so dearly. And I never knew what it was like. And I've never felt the pain like I've felt. And every single day is so hard. And it hasn't gotten better. It's just time kind of leads me, and life leads me, and I get almost used to it. Like I changed. I'm not the same. And so certain things kind of get me, and certain moments and certain songs and memories, right? That time hop act can really get to me sometimes.
I can get you.
Yeah, but like I never go a moment without feeling that, missing my brother. I mean, we were extremely close. And the gifts I've gotten from everything that's happened, the people I've met, this art, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd give it all back in a second, right? But we learn and grow, and like this grief and loss is just such a complicated, horrible, natural process that so many people have, and it's so different for everybody, but it's like the common shared pain. Like I know, like when I'm talking to somebody that has loss, like I know, like I see you, I get it. So the idea of painting the surfer, yeah, I think that first one is going to feel special and hard and sad, but every single shell that I have, like I've picked the collection of like my buddy Joe, he picked it. That's because he's out there photographing the surfers that my brother knew and loved. So there's always this strong connection. And I think that for me, Art by Marni B is just as much about the art than it is about the experience and my life and music and surfing, like everything just into this shell. And then the product of what it is means something to somebody who has it, whether they find it at the store or they get it in a cute little box as a surprise, or they order it directly and they're like, this is what I want. Can you do this? And my answer is always like, yes. And then I have to just figure it out or ask a million questions. Yeah. I got one right now that I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, I think I could do it. Yeah.
How has the pandemic affected your business, if it has at all?
Yeah. So the pandemic's been a big for everyone, right? For me, I am working COVID unit right now. So I work directly with COVID. My husband is a nurse, also has been working throughout this pandemic on the COVID units. And it's affected us in a lot of ways. My brother was just diagnosed and hospitalized, not for COVID, but during COVID. So we weren't able to see him. And when he came home for hospice and after he had passed, we had to work all of that out with all the people that wanted to see him or honor him and everything like that. How it affected my business is a little different than other people because I established it during the pandemic. I mean, all of this that happened was not only Mark's diagnosis and 2 months later his passing, but that was in the depths of the COVID pandemic. We were still navigating through such unknown territory. So I started creating and formed Art by Marni B. So I think that in a way, it's there's nothing good from COVID, but I've formed my business. So I haven't been affected in a negative way because I wasn't established before. Yeah.
Okay. So for anybody who's, been watching and they can't wait to get one of these shells, where can they go?
Well, first off, thank you. I'm honored. This is just unbelievable for me. And there's a lot of different places. I mean, my social media outlets are a big one. My Instagram is Art by Marni B. My Facebook is Art by Marni B. My website, artbymarnib.com. And then really, I always push people to support local, just shop local, support local. So you can find me. I'm once a month at the Oyster Bay Market. I'm at Port Washington, the local market on Main. My shells are always there, but then I'm also popping up. So you can always see my events of where I'll be on my Instagram or Facebook. And then always at Hitch. Hitch has a great selection of my shells, and North Fork Box. You can find them online on their Instagram or Facebook. They also have an Etsy, and they have all different varieties and for any occasion. And then keep your eye out for the Long Beach shells. If you're ever out there enjoying, springtime, summer, now get to the beach. And if you ever see that, and you can also go to their website and help out anytime. They're a great organization.
That's great. I'm so happy that you've been able to succeed. It's wonderful. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much.
And quickly though, I know that aside from your shelves, you also are doing other pieces of work. So can you tell us quickly about that and where we could find that?
So I have a pretty large painting collection through the years. And in the pandemic, I seen a lot of support and call for artists. And so I decided to get them back in circulation instead of just sitting, against the wall collecting dust. So for right now, I have about 7 of my larger canvases. They are in Huntington at the Art Bar, the Spotlight Art Bar right next to the Paramount. So they've been displaying all of my traditional paintings, which really are very bright and colorful, a lot with nature. I have a huge tree frog. If anyone's been to the Art Bar, they've probably seen it. It's 50 by 50, real big.
Oh, wow.
And some passion flowers. I also have this sketch that is my husband. It's a selfie he took, right, full in PPE, that I sketched out back in April. So it's been a year. It's amazing. So that's there too. And then I have some upcoming shows that are not released yet, but please, if you do anything, the best thing to do is support me by following me. It's not always about ordering and buying. It's really networking and supporting in that way. There's so much that we can do for each other that doesn't cost a thing. So definitely stay tuned for some upcoming shows.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been so nice talking to you, hearing your story and seeing your work.
Thank you.
Hopefully, next year you could come here in the studio and we could do this live.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe I could do some kind of painting with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
teach you how to paint a shell, anything
Yeah,
you want.
that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. So,
Yes.
well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.